Aha. Okay. Screen issue. Okay, I'm going to get started. It's about 17 past, and I can't tell what you guys are seeing on your screen because I'm trying to see it on mine, and I've got all these notifications popping up, which is not helping. I believe you should be looking at the Silver Sands palette. And I'm just going to minimize my Facebook because I don't believe I need to see it running on this screen. I just need to see it running on some other computer, which is kind of what I'm doing here. So there's a small pop-up of me in the corner. Hopefully you're hearing audio. I have headphones on because there's just a little bit of background noise. This is the first palette I'll be working with. The second palette is called Island Vibes. And there you go. So it's a little bolder, a little brighter. I won't use every single color in the palette, but the intent is that you will be able to see a little bit of a difference between the two. And apologize for any kind of net delay. I've got a mirror over here. I've got the slides over here. I've got my phone in case there's an emergency in front of me. And then I have a place for typing comments if necessary. And everything just seems to keep popping up, which can be semi-obnoxious. Right now, it's just me and my assistant, Sandy. And I am recording this, and I will chop out the beginning and end where you see me staring at the screen but not knowing what's going on. But I would encourage you to comment, even if it is on the rebroadcast. I'd like to know what your thoughts are. I will post these images later, and I will also post these. I know you're looking at me and not the slide right now. When I fill them out afterwards, when I'm done. So you can look at my eye and this and kind of figure out how I assembled the look. I just can't do that and everything else at the same time because I'm actually going to use the colors with the brushes and like color by numbers right on the papers. So those will get scanned and put in. I'm creating a look for the first time. I didn't get a chance to put my foundation on, so as I talk, I'll quickly put that on. I'm going to pause screen sharing and hope that this works because it says resume and I thought I had paused it. So that's what's confusing. It says I'm resuming, but I still see it on the screen. So you'll have to bear with me as I'm kind of going through this with you. It's kind of a new skill, if you will. So I'm hopefully pausing. I don't know if you're seeing, it looks like you're just still seeing picture in picture of me, which is bizarre because I don't recall, yeah, see, you're seeing my thing's desktop. I'll leave that on, and I'll leave on the one I'm doing first. If I can find it again. There it is, Silver Sands. But what I really would like to do is have you see me. So I'm going to stop the share altogether, and hopefully I can get it back later. That's kind of the end goal. But at this point, I would like to get started. So, and if I get too tangled up in the wire, I'm going to lose the headphones. But for me, I'm always a girl who starts with primer. Good. Thank you, Sandy, for the sound check. It was pretty close. We had like 3 votes for Silver Sands and 2 votes for Island Vibe, and I figure I'm going to be on for an hour, and I can put my makeup on pretty fast. I use brushes for most things, but sometimes I cheat and use my fingers. Always use your ring finger on your eye area. Now, most of these Chroma Fusion colors don't need primer, but I'm in such a habit of using primer nowadays that I just do. I'm using under eye corrector because I have what we call raccoon eyes, and they tend to look pretty bad depending on the lighting. I am using a cream brush to stipple, and this is where I got to look at the mirror, so bear with me a minute. I'm just patting it in. Now, if I really was dark, I'd use concealer, and if I had blemishes, I would use concealer. But today, we're not using concealer because it's not really necessary for what I'm doing. Now, if you were to do this as a quick look, I would just be throwing on primer, CC cream, and the makeup and finishing spray. I would not be going into this level of detail. But I also want to record something else later today, and I figured I might as well make sure I'm camera ready for both. Now, I'm not going crazy with the blend, because with under eye corrector, I want that on first. With concealer, I told you actually want to put that on second. And I kind of agree with that. But I also feel like a little blending and touch-up is never a bad thing. So for my CC cream, I'm going to be using the liquid foundation brush, and I'll be using a blending brush for my foundation in just a minute. I also will pencil in my eyebrows a little because I found that I'm a little deficient. As you can see, it's a little sparse in places. So you're getting extra tutorial for your buck, if you will. And I always say finish in a downward stroke, but you just want to just gently blend on whatever product you're using. You may want to do your eyes first after you put your foundation on and then go back and touch up with foundation, because what I found is sometimes the color lands on this lower part of the eye area, and then you have this weird smudgy, powdery makeup that you have to kind of very delicately brush off. Some people will actually put translucent powder under their eye, or they will find a way to affix some kind of blotting paper to that area with tape, I guess. I haven't used that technique myself. And yes, it's hard to talk when you're brushing around your mouth, so bear with me a second. But the idea is it's a catch, like a bib, if you will. And it's designed to kind of catch the crumbs, if you will, and keep them. Whoop, a little too much on my brush, but I'm going to do my neck because let's not forget to do the neck. You don't want your makeup to just stop at the chin. And it really does not hurt because CC cream is SPF 15, just like that primer I put on. So giving your neck a little sun protection is actually a good idea, especially if this is a summer look. Really quickly, moving to the next item and throwing on my foundation now. But I am going to pause to do my eyebrows. This is our eyebrow pencil. I don't feel like I need the gel, which is tinted, and it helps to fill, and it also keeps it in order. If this was an all-day event, I would probably touch up with the gel too. Now I'm doing itty-bitty dashes, little dotted lines, if you will, and I'm going to comb through and smooth it out. But I'm just filling it in so it doesn't look so sparse. It's not a stencil. I'm not using a marker in my eyebrows. You could technically cheat by using, well, I used to use the clear gel, but don't make that anymore. But you could use a little eyeshadow. If your eyebrow is not a color that we have a pencil for, if that makes sense at all, you could opt to do that. I can hear some background noise. I apologize. I can only do so much. I wanted to put on music, but then I thought if I put this on YouTube, there'd be copyright issues. I was actually thinking of doing like the ocean waves and seagulls and kind of add a beachy theme to it. And right now my green screen is of my studio, but I was also thinking, what if I put up a beach with a palm tree? And I realized that's the background everybody has. So I decided to skip it. So now the eyebrows, as you can see, are much better. Does not look like we have anyone else on. Now, I presume, Sandy, you're watching from Facebook Live and not from the Zoom link. Would that be correct? And I need to give the link to somebody, so bear with me a moment. What's the fastest way to do this? I'm just going to mentally pause, copy paste the link, and send it to someone in Messenger so she can just jump on in my meetings that exist. Invitee, Messenger, already sent. All right, so we'll have an actual guest in a minute on Facebook Live. And if any questions come up, my lovely assistant Sandy will do her best to field them. If it's something beyond her knowledge, we will then have me answer those questions. But since I'm almost done with the foundation, the good news is our guest doesn't have to sit through this part of the video, and she can just get into the fun stuff. Just a second, and letting in. She's actually going to be in on the Zoom. Hi, Mayari. If you want, you can just switch your view to speaker view. So this way, when I show stuff on the screen, you can see it, and you can just hide yourself by turning off your camera and mic unless you have questions. I will definitely leave you an opportunity to ask questions at the end. Right now, you're the only participant besides my friend Sandy, who's watching through the Facebook Live. But this way, if you want to private chat me questions that don't show up on screen, you can. And if you want to chat to quote unquote the audience, you would say, you'd chat to everyone in the chat box. That's just so you know, I am recording this for other people who could not be on, and I didn't want to embarrass you, so at least you know it's being recorded, or in case you want to watch again later because you missed something. Either way, I was just doing a quick foundation application because I ran out of time. Oh, technology is wonderful until you actually understand how it works. Then it's actually kind of fun. But for now, it's just, I needed to get the face on. And I will be looking at a mirror and looking at my camera, but I also have down below the live on my Facebook. So, welcome, Yari. Nice to see you, sweetie. And of course, as always, I appreciate that you're watching. And as I said, you may want to mute so that the video doesn't keep jumping back to the blank screen. If you need help, I might be able to mute you. Well, you're all set. It's just jumping for whatever random reason. Don't worry about it. It's not you. So we've got that going on. If you have questions, as I said, please put them in the chat. Sandy may answer them in the Facebook Live, or she may also log into the Zoom and answer them there. We're still figuring that out because she's not here, obviously. If she were, she'd just be manning one of the computers. But with COVID-19, we had to get creative with our thing. And don't mind me if I fade in and out. It's because my color is similar to the green screen. So there may be a couple times where the camera does something weird. I'm not a floating head. I am going to write down these colors in case you're wondering. I will screen share again if it'll let me, so you can see the looks that I'm teaching. I'm teaching both. If you give me a second here. Share screen. Let's try this again, see if it'll continue to work. I have my iPad linked up, and I hope yes, it's still connected. We're all on the same Wi-Fi, so I hope my Wi-Fi doesn't go down. And in a second, you should see one of the palettes. I'm going to start with Silver Sands, and I'm going to go to an Island Vibe. I know that's one you expressed interest in. I'm just stalling till the thing stops thinking. And long and short of it is, I just figured with an hour we had a little bit of wiggle room, if you will. And at this point, I just want to make sure that I'm going to write down what I do, and then later on, I'm going to piece them onto these sheets, and then scan those and put them into the computer so that you guys can see a more professional look of, and of course, it's not connecting. Why is it not connecting? Because Murphy's Law, right? So I got to back up. I believe I can screen share from my desktop. I do have images on my desktop too. Or at least I had them on the desktop. Bear with me a second. Screen share, desktop, and they should be in this folder right here in the downloads. So we were talking about the two looks here, Silver Sands. I can try to maximize if it'll let me. Can you see that? Unfortunately, it seems like my Chromebook is on a delay, so it always seems to be behind by about, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. Not that I need to bleep anything, but I guess that's good to know, right? And back to, hopefully, yeah, good thing, yeah, you weren't looking at the iPad. It was reminding me to have a lunch. I'm human and I forget sometimes. So while I can't see what you're seeing, I'm going to go ahead and just show you the other look real quick. And I don't have a Zoom link. I can send you one, Sandy. Hold on just a second. We just did this a second ago. So it was in the event, just for folks who are observing, might not know. It was in where it says the event link. And I guess I did not make it as clear as I'd like to, but not a big deal. As I said, even I'm still trying to master this technology stuff, if you will. So I've sent the link. Hopefully it worked. We'll be back with you folks in a second. And you may or may not be seeing all these little things popping up on the side. That's okay. The OCD in me wants to click everything closed. And now I can't see the live, I think because I went into the event and I just need to go back to the page. So the other look, as I was telling you about a minute ago, if I can, there we go, is called Island Vibes. It was basically a very close second place. Much brighter colors, a little more vibrant, but still very neutral and safe for most people to use. I would say very few people would have trouble using either of these. They're really good neutrals. So we're going to keep those on the desktop in case I need them again. And we're going to close this. And we're going to go back to focusing on the talking head because you won't actually see the makeup application. At least I would think you would. Let's see here. I don't need the picture-in-picture, but I'm going to leave it there just in case. And I don't know what's going on here. My computer is being funky. So the first thing I always like to do with color is kind of think about what my brightest color is as well. Thank you, Sandy. I'm glad you're able to jump in. And then where my midtone will go, and then where my brightest color will go. And you can get really creative with 3+ colors. I find that you'll want to mute, Sandy, when you have a second. I personally find that I like a certain pattern, but then I just play with the colors And once in a while I get really super creative and add a fourth color. The nice thing is both of these palettes have 6 colors to choose from. So if a color is not a particularly flattering shade on you, you can skip it, which I fully empower you to do if that is, like, green might not be the strongest color on me because I have an olive undertone. I've learned this the hard way, that just it isn't as flattering. And don't mind me, I'm just trying to match my lighting on my left and my right here. I don't want to look washed out, but I don't have as much control over the lighting on the brightness on this thing here, I think. Actually, I can change it a little bit. All right, that looks a little bit healthier. So I'm going to start, since I've got my base face and eyebrows in, with the brushes that you will use and which ones tend to work best with which of those colors. So I always like to use the all over eyeshadow brush for main colors that you put over here and over here. I tend to use the crease brush, well, because it's kind of at an angle in the crease. I usually point with this end so I don't put color on my eye early. And then, of course, you never have to forget to blend, but in case you do, there's an eye smudger. This is great for blending colors between each other. If you need it, there is a supplemental brush. I don't believe it's part of the original brush kit. It's called the eyeliner eyebrow brush. It has a very thin angled end, and it's got the spoolie. So earlier I used the spoolie to kind of comb out and soften where I put the eyebrow pencil. And in case you're wondering how I knew where to put eyebrow pencil, there's this great little cheat. You start with right next to your nose, straight up and down. You go diagonally across your eye, and you find the midpoint of your curve. And then you go to the outside corner of your eye to know where to stop drawing your eye. So your nose is kind of your key. It's like a windshield wiper. You want a natural curve. Now, I have a slight point to me. Other people have straighter eyebrows. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's different. What I want you to know is eyebrows are sisters, not twins. Do not try to make them look identical. That is just not natural. So I might use this little brush later with that thin line if I want to do an eyeliner with eyeshadow. I do also have our gel liner and our liquid liner. So maybe we do one with one look and one with the other, perhaps. I'm going to Silver Sands first because it's a little more neutral, and I feel like I'm more comfortable with these shades. I'm using our Pro palette, so I've got everything in one place, but they actually show you the palette in that image that holds like up to 12 shadows or 4 blushes, highlighters, or a combination of, and that's why I think it's kind of neat. You can do anything you want with it, magnetic compact. So I'm going to use what's the lightest color there. It's called Biscotti. And I realized I didn't write them down, but I'm going to keep the slide up over here on my iPad as a reference. This is a very, very light color. It's so light you probably won't even notice it at first. Okay, left eye for Silver Sands, because that's the side of the paper I'm going to be taking notes on, and I'm going to be jotting this down as we go. I might put this on my whole eyelid, again, trying not to catch myself on the cord, just to kind of, especially in the corner, to brighten up this area. Biscotti is lighter than my skin tone. Now, depending on your skin tone, you may find it way too bright. And that's why it's nice that they have multiple colors. They also have several mattes and several shimmers. It looks like each look has 3 mattes and 3 shimmers. There is no hard and fast rule as far as where to put shimmer. I can't speak today. A Schwimmer is a name of an actor from Friends. Don't mind me. The mattes usually like to be closest to your lash line, but there's no rule saying they have to. And shimmer like to be up higher, but again, I've seen women wear shimmer on the lash line. So do not feel that there's a right or a wrong. As I'm saying, I'm just fixing these earbuds. They're not my favorite, but I was wearing fun tropical earrings and a fun color, figuring, it's summertime. So the next shade I'm probably going to use, let me just write down Biscotti. And there are several shades in matte and shimmer in that family. If you ever look at, we have 31 flavors or more or less you can choose from. And again, if you have questions, you can ask. I'm probably going to put down the second color as Cashmere Haze. That is sort of this grayer tone. It's a little darker. And I'm putting this on the lower lid with the same brush. I've already done a light color. I can use it one more time if I'm not mixing it with anyone else's stuff. You never mix your brushes. You don't want to mix your colors. You don't want to dirty it. But I've dipped in once. And I'm going to put this on the lower lid. So we've got this Biscotti above. And we got what's called Cashmere Haze below. And I'm going to avoid the inner corner and the outer corner. If need be, I can clean that up later with foundation brush, like a magic eraser, or our wonderful eye makeup remover. I don't know if you see this stuff. It's dual phase. It's meant for both waterproof and non-waterproof makeup. You shake it up like salad dressing, and then use it on a cotton ball. And if you're bored, you watch it separate back. but there's no oil in it. That's why it says oil free, because that's the first thing people think when they see it is that it's some kind of an oil product, and we are water based, not oil based. Our almond oil in our Naturally line is the only oil I know of, just so you know. So as you can see, I've got the biscotti and the cashmere. Compared to my regular eye color, you can see a difference. It'll be harder when I have makeup on one side and not on the other, and something different on the other. For me, I usually like to put in a crease color here, and I have several to choose from. There's something called Shadow, which is nice and dark, which might be a little too dark. I might use that as the lash line color. And then there's three other shades. One of them is called Granite, another is called Stormy, and I'm trying to remember the name of the other guy. It's a little hard to read. They should have used contrast and color. Smoky Quartz. Probably should have used contrast and color in that slide so you could see the difference. So I'm leaning towards Granite, which is sort of a warmer shimmer. It's very similar to Cashmere Haze. If I wanted to go a little lighter gray, I could have gone with the Smoky Quartz, or a darker gray. If I was doing like a smoky eye, I might have done Stormy. So now I'm using this brush, and I like to have it point the long end towards my ear, and I'm going to actually go right here in the crease, and I'm going to swoop about 3/4 of the way. I'm not going to go all the way. And this is where I need my mirror, so pardon me a second. Now this brush has not touched any other color. If I need to go back one more time to my palette, I can. This is not the demo palette. This is my personal set. Obviously, if I were demoing it, I would put it on a Q-tip and then would just get another Q-tip or a sponge tip applicator if they were using a brush set. We have a brush cleaner. I didn't bring it out because I didn't need to show it to you, but it's a really nice tool to have when you're doing eye color. Sometimes it's actually better to have your brush bone dry. Sometimes it's better with slightly damp. But if you look carefully now, you can see this darker color in the corner. And I admit, this computer does not do justice to the look I'm trying to teach. But I will say that in person, it's going to look fabulous. And on camera, on a phone, it's also going to look pretty amazing. So at least you will have some reference point. Some people like to go back and do what I call the sideways V. So they'll go along the lash line a little in the corner. So now you're going to have like a crease here, and a little here. I like to blend in the whole triangle, make it kind of a chevron, but that's me. Leaving most of the eyeball in that lighter shade, which we said earlier was Cashmere Haze. So let me just write down Smoky Quartz in the crease. So the first color is called a highlight. The next one's called a midtone. And then there's something called a contour. What's in the crease is what I would call a contour. Now, I'm going to take my smudger and do a little blending, because we don't want it to look like paint by number where I just stop suddenly. So I'm actually going to rub it through the color to blend the edges. We want it to be softer. And if I was doing a literal smoky eye, I'd go to town and be like blend, blend, blend. But can you see now it's a little harder to discern where it stops and starts? It's sort of a blend. That's the whole point. So that would be the eye. If I want to get creative, and I think I'm going to use this little guy on the end of the brush, and I'm going to paint in an eyeliner color with this. I can always go over it with eyeliner, but I'm just feeling like shadow would make for a really great eyeliner color. It's not quite black. And again, any eyeliner I do kind of a dashed line effect, and then I connect the dots. I find it's so hard to do in one swoop. And this is just me being a little bit of a nudge. I do not put eyeliner in my eye well. It's not considered very healthy. I'm a lab tech by training, so I'm like a little bit of a germaphobe, don't mind me. I always try to avoid getting anything in my eye, because if it does and it irritates, you're going to get a very pink, irritated eye. People are going to think you're sick. It's not good. So I'm going to be brushing this along the lash line. Now, don't pull. I should really just place my finger to anchor. And I'm going to, again, long point towards the ear, and I'm going to brush this color in 2 or 3 strokes. I hope you can see this, because I'm trying to do it on camera. Right along the lash line, on the edge of the brush only. And I'm going to do it again in the lower lash line. So one more trip to that color. And again, I have to use the mirror for this. Outside corner, under the lashes in this case. You can be a little thicker outside, but definitely make it a thinner line as you get closer to the center of your eye. If you want to go on a little further, you can go up to about 3/4. And the logic behind this is you do a closed ring, you make your eyeball look closed. like you're wearing a tight pair of glasses. It's not flattering. Most of us want our eye to look open and awake. And you can see right there how much more open my eye looks when I'm using this color, which, as I said, was Shadow as a liner. Other than that, if I wanted to play with all of the colors in the box, so to speak, I could. And I might just for fun go back in with a smudger. And the color we said was, well, we did smoky quartz, didn't we? I'm forgetting. No, we used granite is our crease color. My bad. And this is why I need a helper. Keep myself straight. So I'm going to use the smoky quartz in the inside corner to give it a little shine and to brighten it up a little, because it's light enough I can get away with this. And I might even come down here with that same smoky quartz to mimic the shimmer of the sandy beaches. Here, I'm getting all poetic. So I'm putting in the inner corner and down a little bit, but not too much. If I'm going to do anything, I'm going to put a dark color in the outside corner, not a light color. I mean, I could put a light color, but I think my point is, if you're going to use a color in the corner, you probably want to use something that, again, mimics your lashes. So that's going there. So I'll just make a note that smoky quartz. Now that I got that straight. And you don't want to see my handwriting. It's lousy. Inner corner. And under, I'll call it the front part of eye. When I draw it, I'm not going to say that. I'll just, draw it. So if you have the patience to do, yet again, another color, I would probably, now the smudger's been in a light color and a dark color, I have to clean this. But what I can do, because I haven't used the crease brush in anything else, is I can take a visit into Stormy outer corner. And this way I actually use all 6 colors. And the idea is I'm just going to mimic the lash line. I'm literally going to connect this V just a little bit. I don't want to give myself the look of a black eye. And this is probably where I would need to get a fresh smudger brush to blend that out. And so again, you don't see everything. And in my mind, I feel like I can still see my dark circles. This might be where if I had concealer, I would mix a little under eye corrector and put it in here and then brush over it with foundation again. But it's much brighter than it used to be. So let me get close. So this way, if you want to take a screen grab while watching the replay, you can. I'm not done yet. I just wanted you to see that so far. Now the 2 cheek colors are Rosy Nude and Latte. And I want to do those before I go back to finishing the eye, because I just don't want to forget. Plus, I really got to show you this brush. This is a fun brush. Now, you've already seen the liquid foundation brush and the blending brush. This is our cheek brush. This is one of the ones in the regular set, and this is pretty cool. So you can see it's tapered. It's got kind of a flat end. It's also a dimple where when you press on it with your thumb, it turns into kind of like a fan brush. So, woo, 3 brushes in one. Yay. So I usually put the Rosy Nude right in the apple of your cheek, which if you have any trouble finding that, it's like where your cheekbone is and you smile. And I usually go from about the temple, not all the way up here, but here, right near my eye, kind of line it up with the ear. There's my ear. And I come down to about 2 inches before the nose, and I don't want to go lower than my mouth. So I'm going to make a weird line here, and then I'm going to blend it out. But that's just me. Now, if I wanted a harder look, that's where I put my thumb in to get that hard line. Here, I just want a little color, and again, this camera just does not do it justice. If I darken the lights, you may not see it at all. But I need to see what I'm doing. I can make another pass. It's a very light shade. It's meant to be like a hint of sunlight, hint of air look. Now, what I would say is if you wanted some contour, that latte, I believe, is actually considered a highlighting color, but on me, it would look like a contour. I can get the edge of the brush with it and then do the fan trick. But I want to make sure that I'm only getting this here. And as a contour, I tend to put it here into the shallow and then along the shadow of my chin. So I'm making like a number 3. So I'd start here, a little bit in the shadow, a little bit here, and then I'd flip it over to kind of soften it. Just mimicking the natural shading in my face. I'm not doing heavy-duty contouring here. But you don't want to look dirty either. And you want to blend it with your cheek color so it looks soft. I have a 3rd brush I can use. I lost what count brush I'm on. But the idea is that, and here is that top part of the 3. I don't want to get too far into this part of my forehead because when light hits your face, that's normally where you naturally shine a little. I'm hoping that makes sense. So this is my little 3, if you will, that I was telling you about a minute ago. And because I like blending, I use the all over powder brush as a blending tool for things like contouring and cheek color, so it's soft. And I think it's just a nice brush to have on hand in general. When you're not sure which one to use, you can always use that. So last but not least, I'm going to go back, and I think I'm going to use the gel liner with this look, and I'll use the waterproof liquid liner with the other look. So I'm going to just say latte contour. Can't spell today. And it's Rosy Nude, ROSY, and Nude, NUDE, is the blush. You could switch it out and use a different color if it's too light on you. But I feel like for me, it's a good place to good shade to use. Now this thing comes with a collapsible brush, and I will use it this time. But I actually like to use the eyebrow eyeliner brush with gel, but then you have to wash the heck out of it afterwards. So bearing that in mind, if you're on the go, this stuff comes in a little jar. You see, this is the demo, but the brush has been cleaned and it will get cleaned again. Now this is one of those, it's kind of flat, and I'm going to use that edge, and I'm actually going to paint it on my hand. I know that sounds weird, but this gel gets a little soft in the summer. My hand's going to become like my palette. I'm going to paint here, make sure I get all the excess off, and then I'm going to go back with the edge, and I'm going to draw. So bear with me a minute. See how much sharper that line is? Boom, I have lashes without having lashes. So I'm going to do it again in the lower lash area. I'm just reinforcing the eyeshadow color I put in, but I'm really keeping it close to the lash line and trying to avoid getting in my eye smearing. So you can do eyelining with eyeshadow, or you can do it with a gel, in this case, this guy. So that's going to go get washed, because all my brushes, I have like a kind of a clean bin and a dirty bin. All these brushes, I'm just going to throw them in the dirty bin and clean them after the session. But I wanted you to see the look. Now, it doesn't recommend a lip color, which I think is kind of interesting. But what I thought was, well, if I were to pick a color to go with this, I would go bold. Partly because it's such a subtle look, and partly because I think it'll look great on camera. Now, we have a couple of choices. I didn't want to go with that. I have like 4 of our newest matte lip colors, semi-matte colors, and I know that we have semi-shine too, but I wanted to keep this simple. So I opted for semi-matte, and I picked, we got red and we got pink. So we've got what they call red stiletto, which I think would be pretty stunning. I'll do on one side of my mouth, obviously. And we have trademark pink, which might look nice as well. It's a softer look. I think I'm going to go red and save the pink, because the other look is so bold, I wanted to have a neutral. So I decided I'd grab the blush velvet. I get to memorize these names. So I'll have 2 choices later for that. So I'm not using a lip liner, although I recommend that when you're using red. And that's partly because I'm just not a personal fan of red lip liner. But at least I know it's available. I can teach it. And so basically with I'm going to use a pen here, not a real pen, just a pen. Lip liner, the rule of thumb is you're doing it to keep your lipstick from running out, like sneaking off of your mouth into places it shouldn't be. I usually run it right on the lips edge. Some people will fill in their lip partially all the way with it, because it gives the lipstick something to grip to. Now we do carry a lip primer, which can be used on the lip and the lip area. I just prep my lips with our lip scrub and then lip balm called the Satin Lip Set, because I feel like if you're going to wear matte, you want to make sure you don't have flaky stuff and your lips don't exfoliate themselves. So guess what? It's going to look nasty. And if you're chewing it off or using your toothbrush, now you're being too harsh on your lips. Pardon me, hydration. So I'm going to just be really careful with the red lipstick. This is my personal one. I don't use it a lot, so it's pretty crisp, but you can kind of tell it's used. And I'm going to use my mirror, but I'll be right back. So I'm only doing half my mouth because I'm doing this side of my face. Couple of pointers. I know this is going to look weird, but keep in mind, if we're doing a split screen. Pretty neat, huh? You always want to make sure If you have small lips and you want them to look bigger, you go just slightly outside of your natural lip line. If you feel like your lips are too big and want them smaller, you go slightly inside your lip line, kind of make them a little smaller. And if you want the lipstick to last longer, remember I showed you that cream brush earlier? Well, either way, I've learned this little trick. So I have a dedicated brush for under eye corrector and I have a dedicated one for lip color. And what you like about the cream color brush is that you would then put your lip color on, not through the blot, but pat this down, do another coat, pat it down again, then do a very gentle blot on tissue. I find that works much more effectively because now that lip color is going to stick. Don't mind me, the earbud keeps falling out. So we're going to just write down red stiletto lip color. And on the sheet, I will write the comparable lip liner because we used to have lip color that would match the lipstick, but now we've gotten into using lip liner that matches your lip tone. So that is Silver Sands. And of course, my counter was starting from when I first turned on the Zoom. So it says we're 45 minutes in, but we're not. So I'm going to try to keep this pithy and move into our next look. And again, I'm trying to watch the live on my other computer, and it is so sluggish. I'm glad I'm not using that computer for this recording. And again, I'm going to keep my Island Vibes slide here handy, but I'm going to bring it up on the screen if it'll let me again, so that I can continue with this little class. And again, all my notifications that keep popping up, I apologize if you can see them. Hopefully you can't. So we're going to try screen sharing again for just a second. This time I'm a little better prepared. Here's Island Vibe. I want it full screen for just a second. So you're going to again see that it's a little hard to read the writing against. That's called Sand Castle, Soft Heather, Frosted Iris. This one, I believe, I wrote it down and now I can't remember. Gold Status? No, Shiny Penny, Merlot, Moss. Now you notice Latte is here again, so I kept that one in the tray. That's why when I showed it, she only saw one contour. And here's Desert Rose, which is the slightly darker cheek color for this particular look. So I'm going to stop the share and go back to screen. Hopefully it won't let me. Full screen. There we go. Free. And picture's just showing a white line. Thank you for letting me know. Well, in the end, I will say this. I will post these images again, and they were available originally in the post. So, oh, Lisa's on. I'm so sorry. I didn't see that. Well, Lisa's on the live, whereas Sandy and Mary are on the Zoom, which is fine. So I will keep an eye on both. Sorry, Lisa. Sorry a little late on that. Too many screens up. She'll appreciate that. She works with computers too. So either way, I can send her the Zoom link if she wants to jump on the Zoom. She's been on one before. She's actually a good sport, a very good participant. I see, oh God, now that the delay kicked in, I see you're seeing only a line. I am so sorry about that, guys. Here I thought I was being all smart and sophisticated, and I just ended up making it look stupid. So my apologies. And I'm going to add invitee and send it to Miss Lisa. So she has the option of jumping into the Zoom. I started late, Lisa, so now that's why you get to see me on camera. And as you see, you're seeing my forehead because I'm trying to make sure that I sent the message to you. And I will now leave my messenger just kind of open in the background. I've got my palette. And I'm going to start with the other brush set because I brought two. And I'm going to start applying the Island Vibes look. So again, we'll repeat some of what I said before briefly. I like to start with the basics, a highlight, a midtone, and a crease / contour. And then any additional colors, I'll tell you what they're called and where I'm putting them. And I will draw them out. Again, I was saying this earlier. I have these little cheat sheets that they give you that are blank, and that I will fill out afterwards with the colors and post. So you'll get to have the palette, the look, the video, and I will try to remember to take at least 1 or 2 still shots of myself. Maybe I'll take a photo and then just draw a line down the middle so it looks like a split screen. But either way, you'll have everything you need if you wanted to repeat the look yourself and be successful at it. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries, and I don't want you to ever feel out of place. And again, I may or may not do a shadow liner, but I definitely will be showing you the liquid liner with this one because it's a favorite. Oh, before I forget and switch gears, mascara. Hello, I know my lashes look great with just this, but I always like to use lash primer. This is my personal. It's clear. It's just a clear coat, like you clear coat your nails before you paint them. You might notice I painted my nails today. I chose a nude because I didn't want it to distract. I have so many choices. Do you guys? I'd love to get a vote. Which mascara would you like to see on the left eye? We've got Ultimate, which is the standby most people have tried. We have Lash Love, which is kind of the lightest one. We have Lash Love Lengthening, which has got a little bit more of a curve to it. I know, you can barely tell until you lick the wand. Then we have Fanorama, which is Lash Love, but with a really fancy brush that gives you that silhouette. It makes it really tight. And then finally, Lash Intensity, which is what I call your fake falsies, because if you don't like glue like I do, this is the best. And these two are more volume than any of these guys. I mean, this is pretty full coverage, and these guys are kind of like a training bra or a sports bra, but these are your fullest coverage. So it looks like on the Zoom, I got a chat comment for Fanorama, and I'm looking to see, it looks like I also got that same person asking for Fanorama on Facebook. So unless anyone else has a preference, I'm going to go ahead and put Fanorama on my eyeball for you so you can see it. Now, this brush is kind of neat. It's limited edition, but I got about 10 or 15 in stock, FYI. So if you got a friend who's like a mascara girl, this is going to be, her new go-to. So you may or may not be able to see. I'm going to try to turn it. There's kind of a curve to it. And then turn it the other way, it kind of becomes very flat. So the idea is I'm going to start with the curvy side towards my lashes to really hug and coat. And I tend to do the wiggle. I kind of wiggle it through. Some people do it this way. I don't know how they do that, but that's me. So I'm doing this to really coat all the lashes as best as I can. Now I have to flip my wrist to get the inside, and this requires a mirror, so bear with me. And don't feel weird if you find that your mouth has to be open when you put mascara on. I do it too. I think we all do. It's like keep our eyes open, we keep our mouth open. Go figure, right? And I don't go as heavy duty on the lower lashes because personally I find that, I will rub my eye, or if I cry, that's where it's going to run. Now, I've done that one pass, and I'm going to turn it so I get the flat side. I'm going to go back. I've not dipped into the mascara a second time. I try to avoid that because when I'm demoing it with customers, I have to give them a demo wand, and they get one pass. So I have to learn how to use all the mascara on all sides of the wand for both eyes, or I have to then get them another wand because I cannot re-dip that applicator. It's a no-no. And again, former tech, I would freak out. It'd be like giving people germs. So what you're going to see is now I'm going to use the tip, and this is kind of tricky to do on camera, but I will do my best to show you. Then I'm kind of separating it out, keeping them from getting all clumpy. I mean, check that out versus the eye with no mascara. And if I was really smart, I would have used an eyelash curler first, but I didn't. But there you go. That's the mascara, and I'm going to write that down. Fanorama mascara. And I, of course, use primer too. Now, I would not be done if I didn't put on a little bit of, hold on, I'm going to spray something. Here it is. Finishing spray. You can't see it, but it's designed to help keep your makeup from running. In this sort of a crisscrossy pattern that you're supposed to do. And I've turned to put it on the back of the neck, but I was told it actually is supposed to help with hot flashes. And, yeah, just a second. Let's see here. Technical difficulties on a client who's trying to pay me for her product, which I would like to appreciate that and say thank you, and that's the problem, is that pop-up is being hidden by the picture-in-picture little guy. So I'm going to see about putting this guy somewhere else on the screen where it's not in the way. Alrighty, we're moving on to Island Vibes. I apologize for the delay. And again, I named the colors, but you may not have heard them clearly. I always like the lightest color to be my highlighter, and I put it on either the upper eyelid or the whole eyelid. Depends on your eye shape, and that's something I didn't go into before, but I can mention briefly. If your eye shape is hooded, you may find that this part here disappears when you blink. sometimes you don't see any color. I have a deep set eye, so I don't have a hooded lid, but I have an eye that looks like it kind of got pushed back. I have to remember that causes shadows, and that's why I use the under eye corrector, but I also find that I have to push color up, like that dark contour color in my crease. I kind of went up into the brow bone a little bit, because you wouldn't see it otherwise. So what I'm going to do again, remember this one, kids, the all over color brush? I'm going to use the color called Sandcastle. It's a little yellow for my taste, but I feel like it's going to work for the look. And again, you may not see it right away. I mean, you might actually. But the idea is that it's usually so light that you can't tell until you have a contrasting color that it's in fact there. Now, keeping in mind that this has got a little bit of a yellowish, warmish gold tone. If I use anything like the Frosted Iris or the Merlot, you're really going to see it because the gold and purple are opposite on the color wheel. And that's sort of a way that I help pick colors out that I'm going to use. And I just realized that my curtain isn't covering the entire back office, but that's okay. Not like you're looking there anyway. So I'm going to put this color only on the upper eye area so it doesn't look weird when I put the purple on later. I'm afraid it'll make me look bruised. And I think for fun, I may use the Shiny Penny in the upper corner. I talked about earlier where you can and cannot put glitter. Technically, there's no hard and fast rule, but I suggest that you don't want to put glitter too close to the eye. I tend to put it up high in corners. So I'll probably be playing with Shiny Penny like I did the other color, somewhere in the corners, maybe outside and inside upper corners, we'll see. So my second color is probably going to be Soft Heather, which is sort of that more muted tone in the image, which again, I will repost. And I'm putting this on the lower lid using the other side of the brush. This is how I can get away with a second trip to the palette without contaminating colors. You're using a darker color and you're using it once on the other side. So that's how that works. Now, I just threw it on quick. I'm going to clean this up in a minute. I'm trying to be timely here. The next color, I'm not a big fan of moss, but it's cute. I may use that as a lash line color, so I'm leaning towards using Frosted Iris in my crease as our contour color. So we had a highlight, we have a mid-tone, which is the Soft Heather, and I should be writing this down. So Sand, Castle, and Soft. By the way, has anyone ever seen How I Met Your Mother? I hope maybe somebody has. There is a song by Robin Sparkles called Sandcastles in the Sand. And all of a sudden, I just have that pop into my head because the name of the color is Sandcastle, and I was just talking about glitter, and I love glitter. So if you're a fan of How I Met Your Mother, you can enjoy that little chuckle with me privately. Again, with this crease color brush, I tend to like to put it right in the crease, starting on the outside with the long point of this brush towards my ear, but it's a little hard to see because I'm going to be in the mirror here. And I only do it about 3/4 because, again, we never want to give that eyeball a closed, small look. And I'm going a little higher into my eye socket area simply because I want to be sure this color is going to show and blend nicely against that gold. You won't see it as much against the heather. I like to do that, what I call the sideways Z. So I kind of go along the lash line a little too, and then blend. So it makes it kind of like an arrowhead or chevron. That's just my way of blending a color. And if I feel like I've got too much, I'll use the foundation brush to clear that out. I'm not going to go down here with this color, but I might play with one of our other colors in that spot. Here's the smudger I think I mentioned before. It's meant to kind of soften lines, so what I'm going to do is go back here between that gold and purple and blend it down. And then the same I'm going to do with the Soft Heather and the purple. I'm really wanting to soften the look so it doesn't look like I just took a Sharpie to my eyeball, if that makes sense. So again, this is darker colors than the set, so you're seeing a lot more of it. This might be better for an evening look, or if you want to take a light look and turn it into an evening look, you would have only had the light 2 colors on and nothing else here, and you would add this look in before going out to, say, dinner or something. That would be my suggestion. So that's what I've done there with that color. And again, I can use the fun eyebrow eyeliner brush we talked earlier about, using the comb to comb out the eyebrow pencil, and this side, which is thin and angled, very thin. And I'm going to dip this into Merlot. I don't like the green very much, but I'm going to play with it in a minute. And I'm going to use this to mimic my lash line on the outside, but just above the lashes. Again, this is the brush I used on the other eye with the gel in the pot, if you want to go back and watch that part of the video if you missed it. And this is just to give my lashes a little bit of a backup, if you will. And I find drawing a dotted line and then blending back over it is better than trying to draw one line perfect. You can see the color, it's there, but I don't want to go crazy with it. And I might go back over this with a smudger brush because I'm thinking about it and it is a little severe. So I'm blending out this color I just put on my lash line. Pardon me, I got things beeping at me. Okay, Mary, it was good to see you. And you know what? You have the recording to watch later. I will make sure I post it on a YouTube link in this group, and I can always send it to you as a private message. So thanks for participating. I really appreciate it. And you'll get to see the final look at the end of the video, so don't worry. I know this was the one you liked the most, and I wanted to make sure you got a chance to see it. So I've softened the purple. Maybe I go out here and blend out here a little bit too. I will probably clean this up because I feel like I'm pushing it too far, but I really wanted that softer purple look. So we have the gold, we have that kind of mid-tone grayish, we had the sparkly iris, that frosted iris, and now we have this dark purple kind of running into it, but not too much. I am going to show you how I do that with the foundation brush just because it's good to know. So this is the liquid foundation brush with the angle mentioned earlier, and I'm literally going to go in and erase anything I feel like I went overboard with. It'll clean up and soften. This is also a great place to pick up any of the stuff that maybe fell under the under eye if you did the translucent powder or the blotting paper or not. It cleans it up nicely. Now it's not so severe. I like to use all the colors in the crayon box, so what I'm going to do is write down frosted iris is the crease, and I did use Merlot a little bit for the line. I'm going to try to figure out a way to get moss in here, but because you don't want to do the whole mixer colored thing, I'm going to jump back to Shiny Penny for a minute with the smudger, and I'm going to get it in the inside corner to brighten up, and then I'm going to do it in the outside corner too, because why not? No one's stopping me. So this is a clean smudger brush, and it's just used to kind of brighten up the corners, because I have dark circles, and I had to use under eye corrector. If I really needed to, I could use concealer. You got to be careful not to turn it into mud. That is a risk you take when you take a color that's light and put it on top. Now, notice how brighter this corner is? Yeah, I know, right? Great trick. So Shiny Penny, I like to use in the fall as part of our pumpkin spice latte look. So if you like this color, you will see it again. I just don't know exactly when I'll showcase it. I can, maybe with the crease brush, because it hasn't been used in a darker color, go back and do that lash line area with moss, but I've got to be really careful because green is not my strength. And it's just to kind of contrast the purple a little that I put on earlier, and the gold that well, actually not contrast, but it complements. Opposite colors are called complementary, and I'm screwing that up. Green and yellow, well, yellow makes green, so it's not. It's there. I forgot the word, I'll come back to you on that one. I'm just using the green because I want to use a little of it and make this a little fancier look. I'm not loving how this outside corner is, even though I did put the Shiny Penny. I'm feeling like it's just too much. So I'm just going to go back with that foundation brush and get rid of it. So I'm not going to document the Shiny Penny in the outside corner, just the green, the moss green. So what I will write is Shiny Penny inner corner. And then we did moss outer corner, basically. So I played with all the colors. You don't necessarily need to use all of them, but I mean, it still looks decent, and that's the important thing. You don't want to ever look like you don't know what you're doing. It's meant to be a fun palette. You might only use some of the colors. I just happen to like to play with everything in the box. So this time I'm going to use our liquid liner, because this is my go-to favorite, and it's like a Sharpie. You can press down on it to get a wide look, or really use the tip to get a thin. And the trick is, again, dotted line or little dashes. Don't try to draw it all out perfect on the first go. Don't put it in your eye, because that would be bad for your eyeball. And never write and make a closed circle, because it's less flattering than the more open half or 3/4. Pardon me, I'm looking up there. And because this is one of my favorites, I am going to attempt a wing, so bear with me. It should be kind of an upward angle. This is the more dramatic of the two looks anyways. I always say it looks a little bit like the back end of an airplane, you know, where it swoops up. I don't connect the two, some people do, but I think this is cute. I haven't put a mascara on yet, but it's kind of like a cat eye. It's not a full wing. You could go a lot further, but bear in mind, as I make faces, that line goes from looking like this to looking like this. So be aware and know what your face does when you react, and that'll save you a lot of headache later when it comes to, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're doing a wing of any kind, if you're doing anything in that wheelhouse. Now, we have not done the cheek yet, and I don't want to forget. So I'm going to pause, Typical ADD, right? Jump and do that and then come back to the mascara. I always think of my mascara as my finishing touch. So the Desert Rose is our blush. And again, I will use Latte as a contour. So the Desert Rose, and if you weren't here earlier, like Lisa may have missed this point earlier, this brush has multiple sides to it. So this cheek brush has a dimple. You can press it in and make it kind of curved. I think I should have done with the color so you could see it better. Regular flat angled end. And then of course you can use the edge if you wanted to. So in this case, I'm using the full color. I'm starting at the temple. I'm going to stop 2 fingers from the nose, not go below the mouth, and I usually use the ear as sort of a mark. And I'm looking for my cheekbone. This is what I'm going for. So yes, this is a lot of color. Bear with me. I am going to blend it out. But I always want to finish with a downward stroke, and I got a hair that's getting caught. Don't mind me. So this is like super duper severe, like 80s nail salon poster severe, if you know what I'm talking about. And I am going to blend this a little bit more, but I want to put the contouring color on before I get too far ahead of myself. So we're going to go back to Latte, doing the edge of the brush, and I'm going to do that whole flat brush thing. And I'm looking for the shallow. And then I'm also going to mimic the shadow in my chin, connecting them here, and doing a little bit out here. I don't want to go too far into the forehead. This is supposed to be like that little 3 that you've seen done before. And then yes, this is still a little dark. I have to blend it, which is where that all over powder brush I mentioned before really comes in handy. We can just go to town and blend a lot. If you feel it's too much, you can go over it with translucent powder. You can go over it with mineral powder. We have pressed powder. So you have options to soften that look if you went too heavy. I admit my bridal makeup was a little heavy, but she also pointed out, you're going to be on camera and you don't want to be washed out. I still feel like it was a little heavy, but there's the one day I gave the reins to somebody else. So now it's a little softer. Looks like I've been out in the sun. And it needs to be a little bold because it's got to kind of pair up with the eye. But as I was saying earlier, if you could do a soft eye, you want to do a bold lip. If you're doing a bright eye, we're going to do a softer lip. We're not going to go gung-ho on the lip color because I feel like that would just be like a painted lady of the night, and that is never the look I want to teach people. So we still have 2 choices, and I will again ask your opinion. You've got Trademark Pink and Natural Blush. Does either one of these speak to you as far as what would look best on my mouth with this look? Feedback, please. I'm watching for comments in the chat and on the Facebook chat, so feel free to please comment back and let me know. I'm not seeing a comment. Come on guys, play along. It's more fun that way. So it's Trademark Pink, and the other color is called Natural Blush. You can just give me what you think. I mean, there's 2 of you. I missed the names. Pink. Okay, we've got a vote from Sandy for pink. Lisa, would you prefer me to use the pink or the blush as the lip color? The natural blush is the lip color. Do you have a preference? I would love to know. You still with us, Lisa? Can't always tell. How many participants? Looks like we lost Lisa, or she clicked off completely. But yep, we lost Lisa. I guess we're doing pink. Sorry guys, I'm sure people have a limited time available and it was just a matter of scheduling. That's why I record these things, because sooner or later somebody needs to step away. Just leaving a note for somebody else who missed the class. She can catch up with us later. So we're doing the pink, so I'm putting the blush away. And again, I'm repeating this for the sake of anyone who wasn't here. I highly recommend a lip liner, but there's only so much you can do. Thank you, Sandy, my assistant, always helpful. And you know, there to help me as tech support, because you can't go wrong with that. Let's see, the lip color. I was talking about lip liner. So I was saying earlier, if your lip is big and you want it to look small, you'd want to go on the inside edge of your lip. If your lip is small and you want it to look bigger, you go on the outside edge of your lip. Some people use it just to keep the lipstick from running. Other people actually use it to fill in the full lip before putting their lipstick on as a prep. We do carry a lip primer, and I prep my lips with lip scrub and lip balm. That's the satin lip set, in case you did not know. For me, that's my favorite, but you know, everyone's got their preference. And for me, this is the Trademark Pink. Is a new semi-matte color. I'm still learning to I'm not a matte person, but I'm trying to be fair. I love shine. So for me, this is still a bit of an adjustment. Definitely looks brighter than it does on the tube. And as before, I'm going to talk about the liquid brush for just a second. We mentioned it earlier. I have a cream brush that I dedicate for under eye correcting, and I have a separate one that I use to pat in the color. And then I put another color on. You're not supposed to blot. I just do that out of reflex. You put the color on again, and then you use the brush to kind of pat it down. And in this way, it's locked in better. If you're like a person who likes to finish with gloss, go for it. Sometimes a clear gloss is all you need. Sometimes you need something a little bit fancier. And I'm writing down here our trademark pink lipstick. And of course, always primer for the mascara. And Sandy, what do you think? Since you're the only one still here, should I do a different mascara on this eye for contrast? As I said, we've got our Ultimate Mascara, we have Lash Love Lengthening, Lash Intensity, and I think I mentioned Ultimate. I'm not going to do waterproof because that's basically a variation on Lash Love, and you can't see that it's waterproof, if you know what I mean. So, thoughts. Lash Love. The Love or Lash Love Lengthening. If you can discern between the two, that would be helpful. I can show you the wand if that'll help. That might make a difference. This is Lash Love. It's very flat and straight. And we try not to pump our mascara. We always try to scroll it. So, see how this has got more of a curve? So I think I'm going to go with this one just because it's not as well known. And that way, it's less confusing. So for whatever outsiders who are not familiar with all of the different mini mascaras we have. Thanks for your feedback. It's always appreciated. So again, I need my mirror for this. One pass. The nice thing is I can just spin it completely to get all the lashes. But I really want to use that curved side to get the lashes to... I might even use the back of my lashes. I know that's a weird thing. I don't use lash curler. But I learned this trick when I was little, where you try not to get your eye makeup, of course, but you kind of coat the back of the lashes, so now your lashes have mascara on both sides. That's sort of something I learned, and I tend to like to wiggle it through like before. You notice this time the lashes aren't as thick as the Fanorama, but there's still a nice, generous coat to them. They're wide and they're separated, like the joke of a Wonder Bra that widens and separates the girls to make them more perky and noticeable. I wouldn't do the double coat on the under lashes because it's kind of hard to get under there in the first place. But as I said, having that curved shape lends itself to you really kind of giving the lashes a little bit of a bend as you go. And I think one coat's sufficient, but yes, I will. Pardon me, I've got like a panicky message coming in from a customer. I just want to make sure it worked, because she was very concerned about getting her product right away. And yes, it did work. Perfect. So anyways, short story. I mail out everything and send a tracking number to all my customers right away, but I told her I wasn't going to until I got it paid, which is not a big deal. So I will just tell her I will get her the tracking number soon. She doesn't know I'm recording a video right now, which is fine. That's okay. No harm, no foul. But you can see I want to respond right away to people when they ask questions. I don't want to leave you hanging. That's half the point is customer service. If I'm not doing that, you're not going to want to ever deal with me. So I think, unless I missed something, this is the finished look. And what was the comment there? Hold on. Okay. I'm glad you agree, because it's a little late now. I mean, I have the makeup remover. If I had to take it off, that's what I would use to get the lipstick off, because I feel like it's effective for that too. The little spritz, the finishing spray, hopefully with a fan blowing. I don't blow it somewhere where it shouldn't go. But this is your finished Island Vibe. And Silver Sands. So as I said, I'll take a nice screenshot, probably with my phone. That way I don't look so weird. And then I will post those other colors as I paint the images. It's going to take me about a half hour to put this all together and repost to the group. I may add the slides at the end of the video, but that'll take some video editing. So bear in mind, the images will go up first, and then the video will go up later. this weekend. But I appreciate you taking a few minutes to pop in, see what's going on, and to kind of learn a little bit about how you can put together a really simple, fun look with the compact and a few colors, and the idea of how versatile it is for you when you only have a few colors, how many different ways you can use them. And you can see 6 colors and I use them very differently, came up with a very different look. I feel like either one would be perfectly fine and fun for summer, and even other seasons. You could take the concepts and apply them to other color palettes. You had like warmer tones for fall, something kind of cool for winter, totally up to you. But I feel like the ideas that I shared with you apply across the board. They're not for just these colors. So hopefully you had fun. If you have any questions, you can always post them in the comments on the replay, or private message me if it's something you don't feel comfortable sharing in front of everyone else. And I will eventually learn how to get that screen sharing working correctly. As I said earlier, it was working. I don't know what happened, but again, with too many pieces of technology in play, I feel like sometimes you get lost in the weeds, as my mom likes to say. You know, you get kind of like sidetracked and you roll off into the side of the road kind of a situation. So if my iPad and my MacBook don't want to talk to each other, that's not my fault. They've got to sort themselves out. Maybe they need therapy. I don't know. Again, thank you for visiting. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know this is one of my longer ones. I will try to trim off as much excess as I can so it's not as long. It'll make it a little easier to watch. Other than that, I don't know exactly what I'm doing for July yet. I will gladly take your thoughts, and I've been sending out a survey to folks. Please fill out the survey. It tells me what kind of content you want to see, and it'll help me better understand what will be most useful. I mean, I want to make sure that your time and my time is spent well. So thanks again. It was good to see you guys, and have a great weekend. And I think 4th of July is coming up, so have a happy and safe 4th of July as well. Bye-bye.